What's going on, everybody, and welcome to Wrestlemania 15. Here we are with this nice, shiny title card here. We are continuing our 39 WrestleManias in 39 days. It has been a little bit of time since I've recorded a batch of these, if you will. So I'm very thankful to be back here. My beard is all kinds of messed up, but that's not important. We'll deal with it. But I am here with WrestleMania 15, and of course, like always, if I can, oh, that's fun. My stream deck is broken, so we'll do it manually. But as always, we have Rob's notes over there on the side. Our card is stacked from 10 to 0, with an A being 10 to a 9, a B being an 8 or 7, C being a 6 to a 4, D is 3 or 2, and F is 1 and 0. And we are here with the WrestleMania 15 card. Took place on March 28th, 1999. Actually featured a Titantron, or at least some form of a Titantron, kind of the beginnings of one. Also, we switched to barricades now, so we no longer have the metal, like the grates blocking between the fans and the ring. I much prefer the barricades. I think it looks nicer. I think it's better to work with for the talent. I think it helps keep the fans safer. So definitely glad they made that change. We're maturing. Also, I've noticed that the quality seems to be much better in WrestleMania 15 onwards. I think the quality of television's increased, the quality of camera work. And again, it's 1999, so computers were starting to work on and progress, and camera quality was picking up, and photography was picking up. So we're definitely seeing the technological advances we were making at the time reflect in these WrestleManias too, which is something else that's pretty fun when you're watching from 1 to 15 as we are now. But we're going to go ahead and kick this off with the first one here, which is for the WWF Hardcore title. Now, these first few I don't have a ton of notes for, and that's because there's really nothing remarkable about them. We have Hardcore Holly versus Al Snow versus Billy Gunn in a triple threat match for the Hardcore title. A match of basically all weapon shots, which again could be expected from this era, could be expected from this type of match. You expected a lot of weapon shots from a hardcore match. You didn't really expect a whole lot of story to be told in the middle of these matches. You didn't really expect a whole lot of grandeur things, especially in these openers for WrestleMania. So ultimately, you got this, which was honestly a lot of creative spots, which I wasn't really expecting. And outside of that, it was just a match, a back and forth match. Of course, I will say the winner was unpredictable, so I'll give it that. Hardcore Holly ended up winning it. Yeah, it's really no real story, no real heat, no real major spots. You know, some creative work with the weapons, as I said, but nothing really major happened here. Entertaining Mania opener, I guess, for all intents and purposes. So I gave this a 5 out of 10. Rob gave this a C-. He kind of felt along the same lines as me, that this match wasn't really anything super remarkable. So of course, me giving it a 5, him giving it a 4, it's going to balance out to that 9 or that 4.5, so it's going to get bumped up to that 5 rating. Next up, we have the WWF World Tag Team title match. We have Jeff Jarrett and Owen Hart versus D'Lo Brown and Test. This one wasn't really good at all, which is unfortunate because it's Owen Hart, and you guys know I love the Harts. But this one wasn't much. D'Lo Brown didn't really do much. Test isn't really that great. I've never been a huge Test guy. I know some people are. I've never been, and as I'm watching these WrestleManias, it's confirming how I felt when I was a younger guy, that a kid and teenager time, and playing him in the video games is just where the majority of my wrestling came from. I never liked playing as him in the games. I never really liked watching him on TV. It just didn't really entertain me as a kid, didn't really entertain me as I'm watching these back. He was kind of a dud in this match as well. I wasn't a huge fan of Jeff Jarrett in this match, and honestly, Owen Hart really didn't have any time to do anything because this was a 3-minute match. A 3-minute tag match on a WrestleMania card is just bad. I gave this match a 2 out of 10. Rob gave this match a D+, so he gave this match a 3 out of 10. That 2.5 is obviously going to kick it up to a 3, which I'm fine with. It's still a D. So that's where we're going to put it. We're going to put it at that 3 and kind of move on from there because, again, there really isn't much to talk about for this one. Going into another match that really doesn't have a whole lot to talk about, it's the Brawl for All boxing match between Butterbean versus Bart Gunn. Butterbean beat him in 23 seconds. Now listen, I don't know if this was scripted. I don't know if this was like an actual boxing match that they put on here. I don't know much about the Brawl for All, so anyone that does, if you could kind of put in the comments and sort of explain what this was supposed to be about. I did some research on Brawl for All, and it seems like they had an actual boxing match between two wrestlers. Bart Gunn won. So he was supposed to go get someone else. They got hurt. Let me see the note that I put on here, because the note that I put on here was like a copy paste here. He happened to win a previous Brawl for All against other wrestlers. This basically destroyed Bart Gunn's career. This match, he lost in 23 seconds, and that was kind of it. I don't know why they decided to basically just pretend like Bart Gunn didn't exist going forward, but it basically ruined his career from what I was gathering. This sucked for me. I gave this a 0 out of 10. You put a wrestler against a professional heavyweight boxer in Butterbean. He beats the shit out of him in 23 seconds, knocks him unconscious basically. A horrible decision, horrible booking. Again, I don't think this was scripted. I think this was a legit boxing match, and if it was, I've been worked. But this was bad. The internet hates it. I think the average score that I saw for this when I was looking at it online is like a 0 or a 1. So this isn't just my opinion. This match is trash. Rob agrees, gave it an F. I'm going to go and stick it with a 0. It has no place on this card. It is absolutely a horrible match, a horrible decision, absolutely boring, ruined a man's career effectively, provided no entertainment value whatsoever for this, and I don't think Brawl for All happens again because of this. So, not only did you destroy a stipulation, you destroyed a man's career, you've ruined this WrestleMania card, because I don't think this is going to recover from a 0, no matter how good the main event is. Although the main event is a fucking classic. I don't think it's going to recover from this. So, we'll have to see. But I don't think this is going to be recoverable. Next up, we have Mankind versus Paul White, or Big Show, what it goes to be known as later on, to determine the guest referee in the main event. There were 6 disqualificationable eligible moves. None of them worked. He hit him with a chair. Referee basically saw it the entire time. Low blows throughout the entire match between Big Show and Mankind. None of them were called. Instead, he chokeslams him onto a chair, and that's called for disqualification. That's the least of the disqualification eligible moves that is performed in this match, and that's the one that gets called. Again, a match that picks and chooses when the rules apply and when the rules don't apply. It wasn't good. It looked dumb. The decision didn't make sense. The ending didn't make sense. Because, again, he did like 3 chair shots in front of the ref. And the ref's like, hey, you do it again, you're going to be disqualified. What? Then he does it again. It was bad. Obviously, Mankind wins because of that, by disqualification. These two could have had a great match together. Paul White was able to move at like peak performance level for him. Mankind was in his prime at this time, which was looking great. They could have done so. Well, actually, no. I take it back. Mankind was past his prime. Because I don't know if Mick Foley ever really had a prime. That man was always going through something. I don't think he ever really had a prime. He was just Mick Foley at all times. But they could have done magic here, and they never got a chance to do it because of the booking decision here. I gave it 2 points solely for Big Show knocking out Vince McMahon after the match was over. I thought that was a beautiful touch. So I gave this match a 2 out of 10. As you can tell, Rob basically agrees with me. Gave this match a D. So I think a 2 out of 10 is going to be a good spot for it. We'll leave it there. This match card is looking unfortunate so far. Next up, we have the Intercontinental Championship Fatal 4-Way Elimination match between Road Dogg, Goldust, Ken Shamrock, and Val Venus, with Road Dogg winning. This match was also terrible. Like, this whole card is bad. This match I thought was absolutely bad. Just bad wrestling all around. Relatively trash match is literally what I put as my first note here. Stupid double count out because we're getting back to bad Mania endings and bookings. And a horribly executed interference from Ryan Shamrock, the sister of Ken Shamrock in K-Fob, to Goldust. It was intended for Road Dogg, but it was intended for Road Dogg. She saw Goldust come over. She goes and grabs him. She grabs Goldust instead of Road Dogg. It leads to this really just awkward ending. It was designed to set up a separation between Goldust and Ryan, because Ryan kind of just fizzles out into nothing after this. It was just bad. It looked bad. It looked sloppy. I don't know if it was a mistake. I don't know if it was a botch. I have no idea, but it didn't go over well at all for me. I gave this match a 2 out of 10. Made no sense to me how she goes to distract Road Dogg but grabs Goldust. I have tried, so I literally paused my rewatch of this to try to make sense of how she did it and what she did and when she did it. I can't come up with anything. It was probably one of the worst interference spots since, actually no, it was worse than the Papa Shango botch earlier in WrestleMania 9, I want to say it was in, when the manager had to get involved of that whole fiasco, when Papa Shango was supposed to come down and interfere and he didn't, and then Ultimate Warrior was supposed to come back and all that good stuff. This is a worse botch than that, because at least there was a manager there to step in and make up for it. This was just terrible all around. I gave it a 2 out of 10. Rob disagrees with me here, and Rob gave this a 5. Now that 7 is going to average out to a 3.5, so it's going to go up to a 4. But again, I question. I would like to know what Rob saw in this match to give it a 5, because I didn't see anything worth above a D. But hey, that's why we have 2 people reviewing these, because everyone's going to feel something different about it. But so far, this WrestleMania has been a very sharp dip in quality from the previous couple, and we're not going to get much better. Next up is Kane versus Triple H. A very slow, methodical match, which you'd expect from Kane and Triple H, honestly. The Triple H matches are typically, I don't want to say slow, but they're very methodical. They're very controlling. They're very, like, I'm targeting this, and I'm going to focus on this, and that's going to be the story. Triple H is great at telling a story in a match. Limb psychology, match psychology, controlling and pacing. Triple H is great at those, so long as he has someone on the other end that can equally do the pacing with him. The problem with Kane is a really big guy that's slow in general, not on a methodical level. And I think that was the issue in this match for me. This was, again, honestly, before Triple H was what I would call good. Honestly, I think he had to get hurt the first time and come back before he was really good, in my opinion. Another match where 5 disqualification potential spots happened before the actual disqualification. The story behind this match was equally disappointing. It felt like another missed opportunity match is what I put on here. I did like the China comeback and everything at the end. I liked that. But it just, I don't know. It just, this was a disappointing match all around, in my opinion. As you can see on the side there, Rob agreed with me. He gave this match a D+. So he gave this match a 3. He was actually harder on this match than I was. He gave it a 3. I gave it a 4. It is going to average out to a 4 because it's going to be that 7 or that 3.5 when it's all said and done. It's going to get bumped up, rounded up to a 4, but honestly, me and Rob seem to agree on almost everything so far except that Road Dogg match. That's the only one we have a pretty sharp difference on. And next up, we have Sable versus Tori in the WWF Women's Title match. This was garbage. Like, I know I said the Butterbean match was bad. This was somehow equally as bad. I gave this match a 0. It was nothing but botches. The inning counter was botched. It was horribly slow. This was terrible. This might be the worst women's match I've ever seen. And I recently have seen, well, it's been a while now, but anyone that watches modern wrestling saw the Maxine Dupree versus Valhalla match that's been getting memed online about, oh, this is why WWE sucks, because they're like... Maxine Dupree's entire character is to be green at wrestling. Neither Tori or Sable have that excuse. This was just terrible. And actually, if I'm being completely honest with you, was worse than that Maxine Dupree versus Valhalla match. It's going to get the 0 it deserves. So again, 2 zeros on this card. This might be the worst WrestleMania of all time. It's trending that direction. Because I don't think even the worst WrestleManias of 1 and 2 and 7 had 2 zeros on the card. It's that bad. But there is hope for this WrestleMania to at least be above the D that I gave WrestleMania 2. Okay? Because next up we have Shane McMahon versus X-Pac for the WWF European title. Now, honestly, for Shane McMahon's first ever match, this was really good. I actually enjoyed it. I actually enjoyed the back and forth. The actual moves and story. Might as well have made this a no DQ. Because, again, the rules went out the rule book for this WrestleMania. They did, like, I think I counted 18 things in this match alone that could have been a DQ but wasn't called. You had chair shots. You had not breaking the holds. You had the tape, not tables, the trash cans and all this other stuff. Low blows galore. Again, it was like this was an Extreme Rules WrestleMania without actually being listed as Extreme Rules and still including disqualification finishes, which is really weird, honestly. The fact that you've had 2 on this card and probably could have had 1 for every single match, if we're being honest. Overall, however, regardless of all of that, because again, story reasons between these two, all of those spots made sense. So again, it might sound hypocritical, but I'm willing to forgive those disqualification spots because it's Shane's first match. It's how his character was always designed, even now when he wrestles. It's X-Pac. It's how his character is designed. The spots made sense. They worked. And, of course, the referee didn't see all of them. So that's just heel tactics at that point. So I was okay and willing to forgive a lot of these disqualification spots for this match. Overall, I enjoyed this match a lot. The ending swerve of Triple H betraying DX was very unexpected, given everything happening up to this point. Did not see that swerve coming, so for a rare time where I couldn't predict something that was going to happen in WrestleMania, in this WrestleMania rewatch so far. The fact that you had China join in, DX, like they just had a promo before this match of DX is finally back together. We're finally one unit. And then immediately after that, he betrays X-Pac like this. Him and China joined the McMahons. It was such a weird ending, I guess you could say. But not in a bad way. It was like, okay, in this time period, it would have been a holy shit, where do they go from here moment. Which is exactly what you want out of a WrestleMania, and honestly, exactly what you want out of the WWE product, is a where do they go from here, let's see what happens type situation. You got that with this swerve at the end here. So I really enjoyed that. For a moment, I forgot I was watching an old pay-per-view. Like, I was like in the moment when that happened. It was really cool. So that honestly bumped up this match a little bit for me, even though the overall match wasn't great. I gave this match a 7 out of 10. I enjoyed it a lot. I enjoyed the story. I enjoyed the post-match stuff. I enjoyed the finish. I enjoyed the beginning, the promos, and everything leading up to it. I thought Shane did excellent for his first match ever. I gave it a 7 out of 10. Rob gave this match a C, so he gave us a 5 out of 10. I'm fine with settling on that 6. I do think it's a little unfair for the match, as you know, the quality was definitely higher than I thought the rest of the card was. But again, I will accept a 6. Next up, we have Undertaker versus Bossman. Unfortunately, this might be one of Undertaker's... Again, I've said this like 4 times now. this was not the best Undertaker match. I don't think it was worse than Giant Gonzalez, but it was pretty damn close. Nothing these two actually tried worked. Taker almost fell getting on the apron at the very beginning. Bossman can't really move anymore. He doesn't have the fluidity that he used to have. He's still a big man. Doesn't have the motion he had. The action felt like it never had a major impact. Their punches looked like they weren't connecting, which again, obviously they're not actually connecting, but even for what they were trying to do, it wasn't working. The handcuffs, Bossman tries to handcuff Undertaker to the actual cell so he can't get off. The handcuffs break. They play it off and they work with it like it was supposed to happen, but you could tell it wasn't supposed to happen. Like it was bad. You could tell that they were trying to ad-lib because of that, and they just weren't able to get any chemistry going. On top of all that, the crowd turns on the match. They start yelling boring. The crowd falls to a complete silence, and it's really hard to get a 1999 crowd to shout boring, but this match did it. And it was boring. I was starting to lose focus in the match, and I try to force myself to stay focused on these because I am reviewing these for YouTube. It was so hard to just watch these two men just kind of pace themselves around the ring. And then, on top of all that, after the match, Gangrel and Edge and Christian descend from the ceiling and hang Bossman. They hang him. I don't know how they do it without killing him, but they hang the man. It was such a disturbing scene. And again, I don't know. The scene is cool, I guess, if you're into the whole the thing, and it didn't come off well at all. Like, it just, you hung a man in the ring. I can't find a way to make that work. And again, you know, this is the same gimmick that strapped Stone Cold to a burning cross, and I also think did it to Stephanie too. I can't remember, but I know he definitely strapped Stone Cold to a burning cross once. So they're not afraid to push the envelope with Undertaker, especially in this time period. But this was bad. It didn't look well. It was extremely uncomfortable to watch. Now I have no idea. Again, if anyone watched this during this time, I would love to know how it came across to you guys back in 1999, because I can't see this ever going across well, if that makes sense. Like, I can't think of any time period where you could see someone effectively get lynched and go, yeah, that was entertaining. I enjoyed that. I understand that. I can't see a time period where that works. So I would love to know what you guys felt about this match, but this match was a 2 out of 10 for me. Rob gave it a D+, which is going to move it up to a 3, which, again, I'm fine with given the situation. Still a D, but I don't know. This match was just this match was just there. But next up, we have Steve Austin versus The Rock for the WWF Heavyweight Championship in a no disqualification match. And I think, well, don't really think, we don't really have much of a choice, but this is going to be the match review between me and Rob to discuss this main event, what has been a very disappointing WrestleMania. So, let's go to Rob. Welcome everyone to the match review. This one I'm super excited about. We're here with WrestleMania 15 to go over Stone Cold versus The Rock, number 1, technically. The first time these two go at it on WrestleMania. I am here with Rob as per usual. And
can you smell that?
This smells familiar. It smells like what The Rock is cooking.
Yeah, thank you.
This is obviously the first confrontation between these two. Kind of the backstory here is, of course, as earlier in this review you saw, Mankind is supposed to be the guest referee of this match. Check it through. Yeah, Mankind is supposed to be referee. He was put in the hospital, of course, by Big Show, supposedly, so Vince McMahon decides to be the referee for the part of this match. Gets involved, a lot of interference. Stone Cold versus Vince is basically a secondary fight to this, before Mankind finally comes in at the end, does his thing, and of course this match ends with Stone Cold obviously winning the contest.
Yep, Corporate Rock got screwed.
Yep, Corporal Rock got screwed, which is interesting because did you know that The Rock has actually never won a WrestleMania match that he was going for the World Heavyweight title, the main title? He's won Intercontinental titles at Mania, but he has never won the big one at
Really?
WrestleMania. He's had the title multiple times going into WrestleMania, but he has lost it every time. The only WrestleMania matches he has won have been ones where he was either holding a lesser title or it was a non-title match. He has lost every single one. He lost this one. He loses the one to Triple H. He loses the follow-up Stone Cold match, and he also loses the next one.
I mean, in his defense...
Wait, that's not true. Didn't he beat John Cena for it?
Nah, CM Punk.
No, CM Punk wasn't in the match. He was supposed to be in the match, and he got booted out because of The Rock and Cena. Anyway, regardless, maybe Cena won both of those. I can't remember. Anyway, obviously we'll get to those much later. But basically, this match involved... It was a no disqualification match for a reason, because they commenced to beating the shit out of each other throughout the entire stadium. It was basically one massive brawl in general. Have there been better Rock versus Stone Cold matches? Yes, WrestleMania 17 is definitely a better Rock and Stone Cold match. For example, this is definitely the worst out of the three main ones because there are three that happened at WrestleMania.
Fucking good though.
But it's still fantastic. I mean, I gave this match a 9 out of 10 solely because I know the next two are 10 out of 10 matches.
I gave it an 8.
Yeah, I gave this match a 9. It is absolutely phenomenal, the back and forth these two have. Busted open, as it seems to be a norm for a Stone Cold match.
I think I gave this an 8 out of 10 because this fucking card was so bad.
Mania 15 wasn't the best. It was not the best. I will agree with that. But
So going back to The Rock and his title shots and losing them, I mean, to be honest, he was going to get Stone Cold, who was white fucking hot when it came to momentum, fighting Vince McMahon, grabbing the ball and running with it and controlling the Attitude Era. That's kind of hard to follow up, you know what I mean? It's not like Edge versus John Cena, where it was like the PG era's equivalent of this. You know, it's a little different,
right? But overall, I mean, listen, Stone Cold and Undertaker and The Rock. Well, I don't know if I'd put The Rock on my Mount Rushmore, but Stone Cold and Undertaker are 110% on my Mount Rushmore, my top 4 of my personal favorites. The Rock might be number 5, so he might be just outside of it. I'd have to really sit down and think about it. But I feel like my favorite part of this project so far has been able to relive some of these classic Stone Cold matches, because I do vaguely remember this match. 17's the one that I absolutely remember, but I do remember this match. I used to go to live events sometimes, and I used to love seeing Stone Cold live. It was one of my favorite things. But yeah, I just absolutely just love Stone Cold. Any match he's in is going to be a good one for me. And this was definitely an example of that. I love seeing the brawl. I always thought the brawls around the ring were fun. They definitely did get played out in this era, in my opinion, so I'm glad we don't see them quite as often now in modern times as we did back then. But this was definitely a beautiful example of one that absolutely worked.
You know, now that I'm thinking about it, about the Mount Rushmore, I don't know if The Rock makes mine either.
No, but the thing is, the Rock on the mic, always excellent. The Rock in the ring was always just, he relied on...
Very entertaining.
Very entertaining.
He's a very safe worker, too. So,
yes.
But my Mount Rushmore would be Stone Cold, Undertaker, Shawn Michaels, Cena, arguably.
Super Cena hurts him a little bit. I think he might fall out of my top 5 as well.
Okay, fair enough.
I'm trying to think of who I would make my 4th, because I agree with you, 3 of your 4. Honestly, Macho Man.
Not for me.
For me, again, I mean, I think it's Macho Man.
I'd probably put either Okay, actually, I take that back. I'd either put Rock or Edge.
I can see that. I can see that as well. Yeah, I think I'd put Macho Man. I think Macho Man's on my Mount Rushmore. I really do. But yes, obviously Stone Cold is there. This match was great. He wasn't fighting a bunch of injuries during this match like he was in 17. And still put on a hell of a banger in 17. But this was a phenomenal match. Great back and forth. Great brawl. Great story going into it. Corporal Rock getting fucked. Mankind coming in at the end, which paid off a horrible angle from earlier in the contest. Absolutely great match. Again, 9 out of 10 because there's better ones, but there's still a phenomenal match for these two. Anything you'd like to add to this? Because I know we're gonna obviously probably revisit at some point.
Nah. I mean, their chemistry is fucking untouched. I don't think any other feud in wrestling history can match up to them. The Rock sells Stone Cold Stunner like it's the most lethal thing on the fucking planet.
Absolutely. Always does.
The Rock's moveset. I mean, I know there's a lot of people that don't like his moveset.
He's safe.
But he's safe. He makes it look entertaining. I don't care what anyone says. The Rock's people's elbow where he slides in his shoes.
Such a good fucking move.
Touched. No one can touch it.
So good.
Stone Cold. He's got that badass fuck you gimmick. Stick it to the man who's at the time corporate Rock.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they had just something where you could tell that they just weren't communicating, but they didn't need to.
Mm-hmm.
And this is the first of 3, right?
WrestleMania ones.
Yeah.
They fight other times too, but WrestleMania ones.
But WrestleMania where, like, it's even though it's not their best match, it's still so fucking good, dude.
I agree 100%. But anyway, that's all the time we have for this match review. So, back to me.
Hell yeah.
And welcome back. Thank you guys for hanging out with me and Rob there. I gave this match a 9 out of 10. As I said, I really enjoyed this match. Rob gave it a B. Unfortunately, if it's just a B, it's going to be a 7. That is going to end up averaging out to that 16, so it's going to get put as an 8. Again, this isn't the best Rock and Stone Cold match. They have a better one later on that we're going to review. I believe it's WrestleMania 17. I'd have to double check on that. I believe it's 17. But yeah, still, I thought it was a great match. But obviously me and Rob discussed it in great length there, so I'll leave it there. But yeah, let's go ahead and calculate these averages here. Yeah, so overall, this WrestleMania is going to get a 3.5. Dreadful. This match, 3.5, I'm not going to average it up. I'm going to keep it at a 3.5. This is a D. D+, technically, but yeah, that makes sense. This match card was very dreadful. The zeros ruined it, honestly. The zeros absolutely killed this match. And that's really all there is to it. Without that 8, this match probably would have been even worse. It probably would have been down towards the 2+ range. But can't be redeemed. Not when there's a better Rock and Stone Cold match later on. So that's it for this review, guys. I hope you guys don't waste your time with this WrestleMania. I'll be fully honest. Unless you want to see The Rock and Stone Cold, it's really the only match worth watching on this entire card. Nothing else here is memorable. Unless you're trying to see Shane McMahon's first ever match. That's really the only other thing. Or if you want to see the Boss Man match. Other than that, there's really nothing worthwhile on this card. So, unfortunate given the 2 bangers we had leading up to this and the multiple bangers we have going forward. That's where we're at. You guys have a fantastic night, and I will see you tomorrow with WrestleMania 16 when we return to some hopefully more positive WrestleManias. Y'all have a good night.